Let's get to some questions here. These, of course, were sent via email to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com. We'll check out to see if there's anything good on Twitter, too. But this first one was a popular topic sent in from Brian in Long Island. Brian with a Y, a different Brian than me. Hi, Brian and Jim. I've been a longtime listener of the podcast. I listen to it whenever I'm doing deliveries, and it helps make the night fly by with enjoyment. My question is, what are your thoughts about Tony Khan mentioning CM Punk had an office job in AEW? Is that what Punk meant when he said he was running a business? Was this why the cosplay executives were so bent out of shape about him? What are your thoughts on the situation? And I don't know if you saw this, but Tony Khan did an interview.
Yes, I did. I saw it, and I took it the same way a lot of other people did. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but to this point, we have not been told that CM Punk was either an executive vice president or a chief cook and bottle washer or anything other than a wrestler in AEW, that he didn't have any other position or responsibilities officially, although obviously, we've heard from some wrestlers saying that, he was giving them advice and they were, always welcome to ask questions or whatever. But, that does make that comment a little more, I'm trying to run a business here, is what he said. And that does make that comment a little more, because I assumed that he was saying something to the effect of, I'm trying to be a businessman, right? This is business. And he just, it's late, it's the scrum, he's bleeding, he's got muffins. But that would change the complexion a little bit. And if that's the case, then that may be why this investigation is taking longer. Some people have said, well, there's some legal action being threatened. But now is it a duel of executive vice presidents? Or maybe Punk just got to be a regular vice president. Who knows? I don't know what the job titles are.
Here's the other thing. Are they all employees? Because wrestlers are obviously independent contractors, but weren't we led to believe that the original elite group, including Cody, were actually employees? Forget about the titles or whatever. But they were employees. They had health insurance.
Yes, that's what we were led to understand, that they were actually company employees.
If CM Punk was an employee, then you have an interesting situation with the suspensions and the investigation and all this bullshit. They're all employees. They're not just wrestlers fighting. They're employees of this company.
Well, here's something
legally
else.
That opens you up for a whole nother batch of shit.
Well, and also legally. I've told this story before, but there was an uproar amongst Ed Kaufman, who was one of I guess at the time he was the senior legal beagle of the in-house Titan Sports legal staff. When I transitioned from managing in early 1997 to just working in the office on the creative team as a producer, et cetera, the human relations department was Human resources.
Human resources.
Well, I've seen some of the people in that department. I didn't want to have human relations with them. But the one that was, you remember at Lisa Wolf that was just head over heels in love with J.J. Dillon? He tried to avoid her at all costs. Holy mackerel. She looked like goddamn Ruth Buzzy if she'd been floating in a river for 3 days. But anyway.
Ruth Buzzy, really?
Yeah. Oh, ooh. They made me an employee. And then I've mentioned this. I went out to kill some time at a TV taping. They said, Cornette, go out and cut a promo, kill some time. We got a tape change or technical, whatever. And then they sent a babyface out to bump me around. And Ed Kaufman found me in the hallway the next week at the office and said, oh, we can't do that. You're an employee now. I said, what do you mean? Well, if you're an employee, you can't take any bumps. I said, well, then unmake me. Nobody told me that. Unmake me an employee because, I mean, honestly, I was looking at it at the time like, yes, I work in the office on the creative team, but nobody has said I'm retiring as a manager or a performer for the rest of my fucking life, and I didn't want to. So they unmade me an employee, and I went back to being an independent contractor. So when called on, I could manage or take bumps or whatever. But why was that a huge deal to a company like that pretty much has, as we've known for the last 25 or 30 years, the best legal staff, the best legal advice? With Vince running a company, you needed that kind of thing. And now, all of a sudden, it's okay for these independent contractors that are wrestlers that are taking bumps, cutting their heads in some cases, doing a variety of things with furniture. They could also be employees of the company. And if one of them does get hurt, come to think of it, one of them already has gotten hurt, hadn't they? Maybe that's the legal situation that we were talking about, or we've been hearing about. Who's in charge of legal over there in AEW? Somebody smarter than Jerry McDevitt?
It's Mega.
Oh, it's Megan. It's Megan, right?
Mega.
She's a mega lawyer.
No, I wouldn't say that, but she's her name is Mega.
Well, how much experience has she had with injured professional athletes being viewed as independent contractors and then being made employees of the company while still being able to take bumps and hit each other over the head with furniture?
Well, I'll have you know that she's worked for the Khan family for a long time.
So the Khan family hits each other over the head with furniture a lot at like Christmas get-togethers and seasonal family outing.
That's not what I'm saying, but she's been around the football team. She also, I believe, is an executive with the football team. And from what I understand, she's very close to a number of wrestlers. So
football teams, well, hold on a second. Football players on a football team in the NFL are not considered independent contractors, are they?
No, they have a union. They have a fantastic union.
So, but she's close to some of the wrestlers, but is that that's, I assume, on a personal basis? She's not known professional wrestlers or been involved with pro wrestlers before this company started, right?
No, but when you go out and drink with the wrestlers, you get to know them. You get to know the business. You feel like you're a part of it.
Well, yeah, she knows what they're telling her when they're getting her drunk.
Well,
or when they're buying her drinks or whatever the case. So the point I'm making is,
she has a charge card. Don't think she's not buying the drinks.
Well, and probably got a company expense account too. So actually Tony's buying them so that it can lubricate everybody's situation up. But nevertheless, point I'm making through all of that, she's done football. That's professional athletics, but that isn't independent contractors. And it's not a situation where they take bumps and are told what kind of bumps to take. When they get tackled, it's against their will, from what I understand. Most people I've talked to that played football, so they didn't really call those spots ahead of time. So no experience in a legal capacity dealing with pro athletes who are considered independent contractors, and no experience at all with knowing professional wrestlers before the 2019 inauguration of AEW, as opposed to in-house legal counsel for the WWF at the time that had been doing that job for nigh on to 15 years and under the supervision and or watchful eye of Jerry McDevitt, one of the great trial lawyers in the country who got Vince McMahon off from being fucked with by the federal government and who has been the chief legal advisor to that company since the 1980s. But Megan might know more than they do about all these things.
Mega, and I'm sure she's a very
She might too.
Well, I'm sure she's a very, very capable contract lawyer who knows her stuff, and we'll see how things play out in AEW. Let's get another question or two, Jim, or 3 or 4. Several questions.
Don't start now.
Remaining
just go
here.
Crazy now. Just upping things willy-nilly.